2, 3, 4. When I'm lonely, I drink a fancy beer. Fancy beer. Oh, when I want you only, I drink a fancy beer. Fancy beer. And when the weather's stormy and daybreak is far, I'd throw an extra $1.50 on the bar. There's no sense in saving pennies if I don't know where you are. Oh, I drink a fancy beer. Fancy beer.
Hello, and welcome to the Beer Show, where we drink and discuss and review and rate beers. I'm Steve B. This is my drinking buddy and good friend,
Eric T.
And it's October, so you know what that means.
Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest, baby.
You know it.
So, yeah, it's exciting. We got a bunch of stuff that we want to share with you, and, let's get right to it with, this one's a Sierra Nevada.
Yeah.
From,
from Sierra Nevada.
Chico.
Chico, California, the home of Oktoberfest.
But this is their seasonal. It's right. Yeah, well, not exactly, but anyway, it's their seasonal. It's a good one, and so we thought we might start with that. And we've got the traditional German Steins to go with, and we're gonna just pour these out, and oh my goodness. Of course, like most events this year, is canceled, but that's...
Cheers. I'm going to go with the other German tradition.
Look at that. I love it. Cheers, and thanks for watching the Beer Show. We're going to get into this thing here in a moment, but we want to set the stage with the opening ceremony that happened just a few weeks ago, back in September. They usually start in September. And so here it is. It was social distance, as you can see. But they still did, tap the keg in the traditional way. The mayor taps the keg. And
it's kind of like you with the firkin back in the Fairmont days.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did get to tap a keg, a firkin like that, just like that with the hammer, the mallet. And look at those. We got the same glasses here today. It's October all month, we're going to celebrate. And the last day of the fest is always the first Sunday of October. And I do just want to go through a couple of vessels, traditional vessels, which have got
a nice collection here.
The pewter top, which somebody asked me a couple of weeks ago, and I love that for the beer ball. That's classic. Somebody asked me a couple of weeks ago what was the, why, but mostly sanitary reasons and to keep the bugs out. Yeah. So we got a couple of ceramics, traditional classic. This one's actually from the Oktoberfest in Munich.
Oh, wow.
From
That's a collector's item.
Old one. And just a couple of other, variations on the same lidded steins. And then This one here is a classic. At the Oktoberfest, they have 15 huge tents, huge beer tents. And then they have another 22 smaller tents. But the Hofbrau tent is the one.
Oh, Hofbrau.
That's the one, man. That's the one everybody wants to be in. It seats 10,000 people.
Wow, that's a tent.
And it's apparently it's got the highest energy kind of levels, and it's the international tent.
I've never been to Oktoberfest, but I have been to the Hofbrau House in Vegas. I'm not sure where the rest of the Hofbrau houses are located, but the one in Vegas, that's a place where you get the steins like that, where you get they order you can order a 1 liter or 2 liter beers. They don't have anything smaller.
This one here is about 34 ounces, so a little bit less than 3 12-ounce beers. And so, so a couple of different examples. And then this, of course, is Das Boot.
Das Boot.
Das Boot.
Not the Das Boot. That's a different movie.
Right. And these typically have a silver or gold rim. And they come in the 2 liter or the 3 liter.
Wow.
And then the trick with these is it's kind of like the Yarda Ale. Mm-hmm. You got to watch out for the splashback.
Oh yeah, you got to do a little twist at the end, otherwise.
That's it.
Otherwise, you're getting a face fall.
So with the boot, you might start out this way, but the trick is you really got to turn that boot a little bit.
Otherwise, you're getting a little splashback.
You're going to get some splashback on it.
You're going to be wearing it.
Yeah, and that's fun too.
It's fun to watch your rookies. It's fun to watch your rookies go.
It is. It's always good.
Everybody gets one bath.
There you have it. But as you know, if you watched our first couple of shows this season, we're doing flights of beer. from the same brewery. So we're doing 4 different beers from the same brewery, and this happens to be Sierra Nevada.
I think we have a video.
We do. Speaking of that, I've got a clip. It's from their website.
My take on the environment is you should leave it better than you found it.
Oh, I've always lived a fairly simple life. It was really part of our core was to figure out how to use resources wisely, and it's just part of who we are.
We've always drawn inspiration from the outdoors, from our company name to our personal adventures, and we want to protect those wild places.
Spending time in the wilds is really good for the body and soul and mind. It's something we try to live by as we operate our business.
Our initiative will have a focus on trails and rivers, and we'll support those through advocacy, through employee initiatives to clean up and do trail maintenance, and through funding the causes that we believe in and the nonprofits that support them.
We only get one planet, and it's our job to keep it as nice as we possibly can.
Wow.
That sounds like a great company. Seems like they're doing everything just right. I mean, they got their eye on the bigger price, and
Exactly.
they make a hell of a beer. You know.
And they do. And just finishing up real quick on the Oktoberfest, it is a great beer. They do make fantastic beers, and they're doing all the right things, obviously environmentally and sustainability. But just a couple of other quick notes on the Oktoberfest is, the thing ends on, it starts in September, which has always been weird to me, right?
That's crazy. It's the Oktoberfest.
So I learned recently that the reason being is that, the festival ends on so the last day of the festival is the first Sunday of October.
I see. So you got to back time it from there.
See, exactly. You back time it a week. So sometimes I guess it could strictly just be in October, depending on when.
But Oktoberfest would be the actual Sunday where it culminates. It's kind of like Mardi Gras is like the last day. I can't remember exactly, but it's not the whole thing that goes. It's not Fat Tuesday. It's the last day.
That's right. Yeah.
But I mean,
it's yeah.
The focus is on the final day, not so much
Exactly.
the first day of it.
And that's what it is, and that's the same case here. And
Gotcha.
I guess the history has it, the Crown Prince of 1810 got married on that day, and they partied. All of Germany partied for the week leading up to the wedding, and so that day that's the day set in stone.
Oh, now I like that. A week-long bachelor party.
There you go. Pretty much, yeah. So
those guys knew how to do it back then, didn't they?
absolutely did. Well, cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
And so here's to Oktoberfest. It's October all month.
Hey, you still got a little taste in there. Do we need to?
Oh, sure.
We need a beer light.
Let's do it. I kind of want to keep a hand on it just in case.
Yeah, I
but,
think I would too. Hey, so we're looking at, I don't know, it's kind of funky through that thick of a glass, but we might be looking at maybe a 7 or an 8.
Yeah.
We're a 6, 7, maybe 7.
And
Call it a solid 7.
Yeah, and by the way, it's a 6.0 alcohol by volume, and it comes in at about a 28 on the bitterness scale.
Okay.
So it's not super hoppy.
No, it's a delicious beer.
That's the thing with the German beers is they're not hoppy. They're kind of lagers. The German lagers.
That's what they're known for, is the lagers.
That's right, like the Bitburger or the Lowenbrau or the.
I mean, really, the hoppiness came from IPAs, didn't it?
And that's a great segue because we're going into IPAs all day now.
We are.
We're getting into some big ones. So, without further ado, let's do it.
All right.
Here we go. One of the safest flights you can take right now.
So, yeah.
Let's get
We're going to
these out
start
here.
out with.
We got all kinds of beers.
We have a little collection of IPAs from Sierra Nevada.
Yep.
And IPAs traditionally were India Pale Ales, came from Britain. They had to step up they had to do something to help the ales travel well from England to India back in the day. So what they did was they added more hops, and the hops ended up helping the beer travel better, I suppose, or last longer.
Act as a preservative. Right?
Yeah, it was a preservative.
Yeah.
Once that idea hit the Americas, they call it American West Coast style IPA, and they really exploit the IPA flavor, the hoppiness of it. And since then, it's grown to a couple of different types of IPAs that are known throughout the craft beer industry.
Well, I can tell you these are some big IPAs right here. I mean, we're starting out a little bit light, I guess, with the hazies, but man, we're going to end up with this double IPA, which is over the top as far as hoppiness. They actually, with this hop, it's a hop bullet. They call it, is the name of it. It's a double IPA, and they actually like infuse like hop extract. They don't even like traditionally hop it in the traditional way.
They're not even fooling around.
No,
They're just like, okay, let's concentrate this sucker.
We're concentrating this hop, and we're going to just inject it in there.
So as I mentioned, the traditional IPAs were the India Pale Ales coming from Europe, going over to India. When the Americans craft brew industry took over the IPA industry, it went to more hoppy flavors, and since then there's been a couple of different offshoots of it. And the most popular one today is probably the New England style IPA, and it's the hazy IPA. And with hazy IPAs, what they did was they noticed that the hops really bring out the floral portion of the beer. Like foods, you smell your beer before you drink it.
Yeah.
Or eat it or ingest it, whatever the case may be. So with hazy IPAs, they're going for more of a floral, more of an aroma than they are anything else, and that's why the IBUs might be a little bit lower than they would on traditional IPAs. So I'm going to slide this back here just so we can.
There you go. Just
give a little view of the can.
That's nice. And so, going from your left to right, you got the hazy. What's the second one?
The second one is
this is the hazy little thing.
The hazy little thing, and then we have the fantastic
right?
hazy Imperial IPA.
Ooh, Imperial.
Now, Imperial IPAs are a little different again. Imperial IPAs traditionally are breweries that take the IPA formula to an extreme and make you taste more of the hops. So a hazy Imperial, you're getting more of the floral, you're getting more of the flavor, is what I'm getting out of my research anyhow. Again,
Gotcha.
I haven't tasted these beers. I have tasted a couple of them, but
I think I
haven't done them side by side like this before. So
no, this is
it'll be
fantastic. This is great. I mean, and to do a flight like this is awesome. All IPAs, something we haven't done before. Mm-hmm. It's a really nice flight. It's something you might try at the brew pub even. Just if you're really an IPA fan, this is the way to go because you're getting all the different flavors across the whole spectrum of really what IPAs can be, from the kind of the weakest and the sweetest and citrusy kind, all the way up to the most hoppiest kind.
Yeah, it just goes to show that every style of beer, even from the same brewmaster, can have a myriad of different tastes. You go to one extreme or the other, and it's still within the same style of the beer, without having to go and say, well, this might be Deschutes' version, this might be Rogue's version, this might be, this is all Sierra Nevada. This is all out of the same house. Right. If it's the same brewmaster or not, I'm not 100% sure, but it's out of the same house, and they have the same idea. Yeah. And some of these ended up just on a napkin. They started out as a napkin drawing.
Yeah, I get it.
And they're like, okay, well, suppose we take this style and we wanted to add a little more aroma to it, or suppose we take that style and wanted to add a little more hoppiness to it without the aroma to it. How do we do this?
Yeah. And moving on down the line, that goes straight into the Torpedo IPA.
Now, that was the first extra IPA.
Okay.
We talked about it. West Coast IPAs, which was basically the first offshoot of the India Pale Ale. Extra IPAs was the first ones to dry hop. And you can tell us a little bit more about dry hopping. I'm sure you're the brewmaster. I haven't really done any brewing, but
Sure. So dry hopping is typically done in fermentation stage. So it's not done during the boil. It's done after the fact. Once you're fermenting, you're going to put a bunch more hops in there and let those float and just kind of sit on the top and slowly sink down through fermentation. And then, of course,
That's good. It's a
that's
little more,
the dry hop.
a little more boldness, a little more character, a little more
Big
flavor
time.
to it.
Big time. A lot hoppier than not doing that, for sure.
Wow.
For sure. So I'm looking forward to that one, especially. Still finishing up. It's October, man.
It's
I'm sorry.
October.
It's
I'm
October.
there with you. I still got a little October last year.
So, you know,
Yeah,
it's
we're not gonna
October all month.
We're
I
not
mean,
going to let it go to waste.
the festival ends it might end on that first Saturday or Sunday of October, but for me, it really doesn't stop.
No, it goes right up to.
It goes right up and through December, really.
I was going to say at least Halloween.
Right.
Originally, I was going to say St. Patty's Day, but there's a couple of holidays in between.
But I would say Oktoberfest has got to be probably the biggest drinking week of any, you know.
Well, I can think
At
of a
least
few,
in
but,
Germany.
in Germany, yeah.
In Germany,
let's go with that.
It's got to be, and I know that in one of the most popular tent is mentioned, the Hofbrau tent. They drink like 750,000 liters of beer.
Are you kidding?
In that 1 week.
Wow, that's like
So-
1.5 million pints of beer.
Pints of beer, yeah. And this is why
Wow.
I need to get over there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
it's-
sensing a road trip next year.
Right.
2020 might not be the year for it, but 2021,
Could be the one.
I'm marking my calendar.
I tell you, get reservations. You're going to need reservations, especially if you want to be in that Hofbrau tent.
Oh, God.
So,
Yeah, can you imagine, especially after everybody who missed it this year, they're going to want to be there next year?
oof, you know what? You're right. It's
Yeah.
going to be packed. So, let's get into haze. Let's get into the first hazy.
Yeah.
So it's looking like 7.6. By the way, the Oktoberfest was 6.0, as mentioned, the ABV, but this hazy is 6.7, and we're going to go up from there. I tell you, this is going to be
It's going to be a fun show.
this is a big beer show.
You know, it
we're
might
not-
be a 6.7, but it's only a 35 on the IBUs.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Which, you know,
so it's not super hoppy.
no, like we discussed, I'm drinking out of the wrong can. I'm drinking out of the wrong vessel. But
That's a good one. Now we did do I feel like we did do this beer.
we did this,
kinda
this beer.
midway through our first season. I think.
And I'm thinking the hazies was because they're not filtered, right?
Yeah, they're not
If
filtered.
they're not filtered, this was the New England version of the IPA.
Right.
Which is going more towards the floral scent more than the hoppy and bitter taste.
Yeah.
So
Way more floral,
yeah,
citrusy
I mean,
a little
it's-
bit.
it's about as light as a lager goes in terms of IBUs, but it does have more character. It almost looks like a Hefe or
Like a
let's-
like a
you know.
Hefeweizen, yeah, very much so.
we're looking at. Wow, that is a pale one. I mean, we're almost down at a 2 on the SRM chart.
Right.
I mean, it's not see-through, but it's it's.
No.
I mean, it's almost a 1.
Yeah, it's right in between. It's a
Yeah,
one something, yeah, 1.5 maybe at the most,
Yeah.
at the best.
It's like I said, it's not a see-through, but by any means, it's very translucent. But that's because of the non-filter properties of hazies, which is one of the traditional characteristics. But it is very accessible. It tastes really good. It does
Flavor-wise, I love it. It's got a great flavor.
yeah, and it has a bit of a floral scent to it. It
It really does, yeah.
I'm trying to think. It's it's got a little grapefruit kind of scent to it, a little pine nut maybe. But I mean, overall, it's just an easy drinking beer, especially for an IPA. I mean, I know a lot of people breaking into the craft beers thinking IPAs are way too overboard, way too hoppy for them. But this is,
No, this is good entry level for sure.
think of this as the lager of IPAs.
I like that, Eric.
you know.
That's good. Yeah, yeah. I think entry level, very, very much so. Very approachable, easy to drink.
Yeah.
So, no, fantastic.
Yeah, and next in line we have the fantastic Haze
Speaking
Imperial.
of fantastic,
Speaking of
if
fantastic.
it can't get any more fantastic than the hazy, you've got the fantastic hazy
That's
imperial.
right.
I can't wait to get into this one. Oh my God.
Well,
Really?
you know, it's fantastic.
9.0 ABV.
Yeah, it's a little over the top.
I mean, you did
Okay?
tell me we were going big today,
Yeah,
but
well,
I
I
didn't
mean,
realize we were going to jump around
It's
this much.
Imperial IPA. So
Yeah.
Imperial, you know, I mean,
This is
they were trying to step up a regular IPA. If you think about an IPA from an American perspective, from American craft brew perspective, they were trying to step up the hoppiness from that point and trying to step up the. Yeah, I'm loaded on here.
Yeah. No, you're on a roll. You take it away. You got it.
Yeah,
You got this.
they're trying to step it up a notch from there, and that's how they come up with the Imperial formula. But I mean, if you look at it, we're looking at a 9.0 ABV.
This is
I mean,
the biggest
you're-
beer that we're going to taste today.
You're going to be a little darker. You're going to be a little heavier on the ABVs. But yeah, looking at this, I mean, we're still looking at cloudy. Look how
A little
cloudy
cloudy,
that
yeah,
is.
still a little hazy
it's
for
still
sure.
It's still a non-filtered beer, I'm guessing.
It is
by
a haze.
looking at it.
It is a hazy
But
one.
I mean, we're not down at 1 anymore. We're
in the 2s to the 3s.
We're 2 to 3 now, so it is getting darker.
Yeah.
But it's, you know,
40 IBUs, so
40
it's a little
IBUs.
hoppier.
A little hoppier. It has
Just a touch.
a little more characteristic to it, a little more flavor to it. But it's, you know, it's a crazy kind of beer. It's different.
I mean, these are big beers, guys. Wow. These are big beers, guys.
Yeah, this is not your grab a sixer and go to the beach kind of beer.
You know, this is a sipping
No,
beer.
unless you got to ride home.
This is a sipping beer for sure. This is a kind of a 1 or 2 kind of a beer.
Yeah,
I love the flavor, though. It's fantastic
the
flavor.
flavor is good. I mean, this could probably go good with steak. I think, you know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, easy. Yeah. Easily with a steak. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, it's a good beer.
Great beer. Lots of hops in it. Like 5 or 6 different types of hops in it.
Yeah, I mean, you got your Chinook, you got your
Again, not-
Amarillo, Idaho 7.
Not overly hoppy, but
no.
But it's got that, you know, you've got that the punch. You really get the punch on the aftertaste with the alcohol level being 9.0. That's pretty big for a beer.
Yeah, fantastic Casey. I mean,
These are
yeah.
drinkable. And so moving on to the Torpedo.
all right. The Torpedo, the extra IPA.
Right.
The first extra IPA that did the dry hopping.
Yeah.
So now we're looking at some color here.
Oh yeah, we are. And a little lower on the ABV.
A little lower than
Well,
a lot of
compared to this one.
compared to that one, but this one here's been around since how long has this guy been around? This guy's been around since like mid '80s, I want to say.
The Torpedo is it's yeah. It's not new.
Or-
at all.
no,
90s
it's-
anyway.
Yeah, it's been around. It's been around for close to 20 years. So I mean, if you want to think about it, at that point, IPAs weren't even a thing on most people's radars. So it did come in kind of lower on the IBUs than most of the IPAs today.
Okay.
This is pretty tricky to say.
That was.
After this
It's
one.
easy. Everything's tricky
But,
to say after that one, but this
but,
one's about 65
IBUs.
IBUs.
There we go.
Yeah. But it says here IUBs. So that's a typo.
It's
but
a typo.
It's
My
fine.
bad.
But cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers anyway.
Yeah.
It's a nice one. Like I said, the color's a little bit. We'll go to the beer light, but yeah, a little darker.
A little darker.
Might be the darkest one of the day. No, I think it is.
No.
There.
Yeah. Where are we here?
4, 5.
Oh, probably higher than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, five, maybe 6.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Probably a 6. Closer to a 6.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, for the day, when you got to think about it, this was the first dry hopped beer that came out, the first extra IPA. So at that point, IPAs weren't as big as they are today by any means. I mean, they were hardly known. So this was about the biggest beer you're going to get at 65 IBUs.
This is one of those beers they probably like where, sitting around drinking a couple of pale ales and just, penciled it out on a napkin.
Yeah, just somebody
one of those.
threw in a couple extra hops over the shoulder. It's like, hey, nobody's
Yeah,
watching.
Just put a couple more bucket loads of hops in that one. Let's see what happens.
And they came out with a couple
And
of
they
different
came
kind of
out-
things
yeah,
here.
They came out with the extra.
And here's one I haven't tried yet.
Oh my
and I'm
goodness, here
really
we
looking
go.
forward to this one. It's a double hop. It's a hop bullet double IPA.
There you go.
It's 8.0, And is that 55 IBUs?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
8% alcohol by volume.
8%. Yeah. So we're getting up there to the fantastic hazy imperial again. But again, these guys are not going for the hazy approach. These guys are going for a really hoppy flavor, not hoppy and fruity smell.
Yeah. And the interesting how the colors drop down a couple of points.
Yeah, that is different.
It's gotten lighter.
That is interesting.
Always, yeah. And again, that just goes back to the malts that they use and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The color's not as critical or as important as the hops, I think.
Right.
Yeah, because you can have a real light beer like this one here, like the Fantastic Hazy, where it has almost no color, and yet it's super hoppy. No, sir. No. Well, cheers to that. Let's try this one. See what we got. This one's 8.0 at 55 IBU. We'll check the color in a moment, but
I'm liking it.
I like it as well.
You know, to be honest with you, when I saw that we were doing all IPAs today, I'm like, wow, get ready for some really big beers. This is gonna make you do kind of funny faces on camera, and
which we've done, I think.
Probably, but not due
it's
to
Oktoberfest, so who cares?
And not so much due to the flavor of the beers. The flavor of the beers have been pretty good.
It's Oktoberfest, man.
Yeah, I thought I'd be doing,
there's no holds bar. We're good. It's just like a freebie for us. It doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter what happens.
Okay, well, I thought I'd be popping up and doing
this is
more
all right.
that.
I'm telling you what, though, you're going to have to put yours on the beer light because I got nothing left.
Okay. Well, that is
super
pretty light.
clear, yeah.
That is super clear.
And
I mean,
light.
it's not hazy at all like the first couple were, but we are looking at kind of a light, I don't know, what do we think, a 2 or a 3?
Yeah, probably a 2.
Somewhere in there.
2 tops. I mean, it's...
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty light beer.
Yeah.
And this is the Hop Bullet Double IPA.
See,
this is...
Now, and double IPAs, to me, double IPAs is like...
way over the top.
Stay away.
Way too hoppy.
For
way
me,
too,
typically. Yeah.
Exactly. I look at that, I'm like, next.
Yeah,
next.
because if you... 55 is nothing. For a double IPA, that's nothing. I mean, I'm thinking about...
double IPAs are like 155.
They're 120. Yeah, I've had double IPAs that are 120 and 110, and it's just like, whoo.
But this is probably a little bit older. This is probably back, when Torpedo was the hottest IPA in town.
Yeah, let's check the label here real quick.
But
I love the label.
Yeah,
I do love the label.
Actually, I've liked every one of these IPAs, and to be honest with you, IPAs is not normally my thing. Like I said, normally my thing is going to be pale ales, amber ales, and that type of thing. But
right.
any one of these IPAs, I would consider as a daily drinker. It's
not bad.
very very easy, pretty accessible.
I would have to say the only exception might be this one.
Sure,
might be the Fantastic, only because the ABVs on it.
Well, that
being at 9.
that and the Bullet, 8 and 9. That's a little exceptional.
Between these two, though, I would probably go with the double. I surprisingly, I would probably go with the double, only because of the ABV is just a little easier. To manage.
Well, it's an 8 versus a 9. I don't think I don't think I'd drink either one of them unless I were home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or at the pub.
Or at the pub on the beer show, and well, good. No, they're all fantastic beers. I mean, we should probably rate them real quick and run out of time. Of course, as always, it's a half hour goes by super fast.
I'll go 8 1/4 across the board.
There you go. Call it good. Cheers to that. Prost. Happy
Oktoberfest.
November. Happy Oktoberfest. Prost. And thanks for watching the Beer Show. I'm Steve B. This is Eric T. And
cheers.
We'll see you next time.
2, 3, 4. When I'm lonely, I drink a fancy beer. Oh, when I want you only, I drink a fancy